Hi everyone, this is Chef Shot. Today I'm going to show you how to make my version of cheddar and garlic biscuits. And this is a very simple recipe to make if you're familiar with making biscuits or scones. And the one thing about this recipe that's very different is it uses pastry flour. Although pastry flour is difficult in some areas to get your hands on, you can use cake flour and you can also use all-purpose flour. And the reason why I use the pastry flour or cake flour is because biscuits is a very delicate dough, and as the biscuit rises it needs a very light structure and it will give you the desired texture. So let's go ahead and get started with the recipe. You'll be able to find the measurements at the bottom of the screen as usual. Okay, I do apologize for the noise. There is kids here. So here in the bowl I have the pastry flour, and to the pastry flour I'm going to add here, this is sugar, baking powder, baking soda. Add this to the flour, and I did sift those rising agents. And here I have salt and garlic powder. I also have in here some chives. And now I'm going to add to this butter that I cut in cubes, and this is very cold butter. Your butter and your milk needs to remain very cold. So I'm going to just kind of fold all this together because I didn't mix all the baking powder and stuff in. So I'm going to just swish this around with my hand, and now I'm going to just crumble the butter. And you just keep picking the butter up, squeezing it very quickly. It is kind of hard, but you have to work it between your fingers. And you have to get this into little butter crumbles or pea-sized consistency. This is the key to making a really nice biscuit. And I'm using unsalted butter. If you're using salted butter, you do need to cut the salt in half in the measurement. To this I'm going to add some sharp cheddar cheese. Okay, mix it in the flour. And also the last thing here that I need to add before adding the milk is some minced garlic, fresh minced garlic. And that's a teaspoon of that. And just mix it together. Make sure it's all incorporated into the flour. And I do have some additional flour here on the side for the purpose of lightly kneading our biscuit dough. So now I'm creating a well in the center of the dough. And I'm pouring the buttermilk. And I'm going to reserve about a tablespoon of the buttermilk. Okay, now I'm going to mix all this together. And once you start to mix all this together, you can actually really smell the butter and the cheese and the garlic in this. So I'm just stirring it just until it's formed a nice sticky dough. And lightly flour the surface with some flour here, not too much. This is about a quarter cup of flour. Scrape the dough out the bowl. So now I am going to just grab the dough and fold it over. Just until the dough pulls together. About 8 to 10 times or so. You usually don't take that many. But just so the biscuit dough is no longer super wet, but you don't want it to be super dry. But just dry enough you can handle it. And I don't use a rolling pin. I'm going to pat this out to about a 1/4 inch thick. And I'm going to cut these and place this into a non-stick baking pan. Okay, take your, this is a 3-inch cutter. I'm just kind of lightly rubbing it into the flour. and just cut out the shapes of the biscuits. Remove it and put it into the pan. And this will give you about 6 to 8 biscuits, just depending on how thick you made them and what size you use to cut. Okay, I have 8 biscuits here. I'm going to brush this down with a food safe brush with the buttermilk that we saved. It's about a tablespoon in here. Brush this down, and this is going to go in a preheated 425 degree oven if you're on gas and you're using the oven without fan. And it's going to bake for about 10 to 12 minutes. Sometimes it may take a little bit longer depending on your oven and how the heat distributes. But bake them until they're golden brown. Okay, here are the biscuits. They took about 14 minutes for me. I'm going to let them cool for about 5 minutes so the cheese is not so runny. And I'll show you a close-up of what they look like. Final of the biscuits. As you see, it's nice and brown. They're nice and they're big. They rose very nicely. And you can see that it has layers from how I folded them. And you can see all the chives and the parsley and pieces of cheese. I hope you guys try this recipe and enjoy it. Please do not forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And by subscribing, you will be able to see new videos from me every Wednesday and Saturday. And also, please remember to live and be well. Do all you can to stop all bullying and abuse. Thank you for watching.